Hey guys, I am joined right now by Sean Waltman and Nick Hausman, hosts of Pro Wrestling for Life. You can catch it on your favorite podcast apps, FITE TV. Gonna just talk about how the show's been going so far, Sean's wrestling career, what Nick's been up to. It's been a while since we caught up. So how you guys doing today?
Good, man. How you doing, Bill?
Not so bad.
I was just gonna say, don't get too excited.
Sorry. Hey, Nick will vouch for me. I need to be coaxed out of my shell a little bit. So you already did a good job of it.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll say this, Bill. I actually am really impressed. I didn't know you were going to step up as like a talking head for WrestleZone.
Yeah, what's up? I wasn't I figured I'd be talking to someone else.
Yeah,
No, I had to.
Yeah.
Cool.
I wanted to do it. I had to do it, and kind of got me out of my comfort zone a little bit. And hopefully, people see that I've improved over the past 3 years or whatever. So
Sure. You're killing it. You're killing it, Bill. You're killing it.
Also, it's a shyness thing. I just thought maybe you were tired.
No. I've just always. I mean, you're not the first and probably not the last to say like, come on, get excited about something. So
No, it's all good. I was just giving you shit.
I take it in stride.
Right on. So what's up, Bill? What do you want to talk about?
Exactly. Yeah.
Pro Wrestling for Life. Like,
yeah.
How's it going? You guys do the show together. I try to listen every week. It's a little different than x-pac 1-2-360, and I know you guys have worked together as talent in wrestling, now on the air. So walk me through what the difference is in your eyes about this show now that you're doing together, what the change, like why the change was needed.
Well, I can answer that for you. So, okay, the biggest difference to me is that this show is produced. Like, okay, the show, I was doing 1-2-360 from AfterBuzz Studios, and just the way that everything's set up over there, it was all live to tape, and obviously there's several different segments on the show now, and it was a lot harder to tell which part of the show was which part, like back then, I guess. But I just got on and riffed before. Now there's a little bit more structure to it, and I'm doing some things that I wanted to do over there that we just couldn't do. Like, I love to do the game show thing where I interact with people and all that kind of stuff, man. Just change things up a little bit. And and it's like we can change it at any time. That's the cool thing about it,
Which we do all the time, which has, I think, been the best part. Like you say, yeah, Sean and I work together on the indies, but more just as friends. Like, now we're, doing business together and having to make like business decisions and things. It's actually been like really fun for me getting to know Sean kind of on that level, because like, Sean, I know this is going to surprise you because we talk so much and like, some things we agree on and others we don't, but like, dude, you've been to the top of the mountain in this business, and you know what good business is in pro wrestling. And so like, to get to like work with you and get your feedback and like Kevin Undergaro's feedback and kind of learn, as part of this and grow and be open to changing things. That's the real fun for me. I just like working with people who can make me better. I'm a big iron sharpens iron guy. And like, it's been awesome just, getting to.
Thanks, man. Yeah, me too, Nick.
Yeah.
Me too. I just, I don't know. Since we're going to blow a little smoke up each other's ass, why not? Why not? Right? Nick is great, man. Like, he's really great. What he brings to the table, I feel like he's the best I could have gotten out there. There's really not a lot of people better than Nick. Does a lot. He's got a variety of talents.
No, I can vouch for that personally too. Working with him, Nick used to work here at WrestleZone. Now he's moved on to Wrestling Inc. A bunch of other things he's had his hand on. But I think if people aren't watching the show, one of my favorite segments you guys did together so far, and you're talking about like learning from Sean, was the Green Cane dialogue
oh
where
yeah,
Sean, you were like, no, it wouldn't have worked, it would have been terrible. And was Ryan Satin the guy?
It was.
So like, you guys were like, no, like we were on the message boards, like we would have loved to see that. And that's one of those things where it was like, you get both perspectives, but you can both like give your opinion without like really having a side win or feeling that need to like have one side of the conversation dominate, even though like Sean, you were there for that and might have a little bit more pull in that sense. But like, did you guys set
man, we come at these conversations from way totally different vantage points, right, Bill? Mm-hmm. So and it's it's fun for me because I get I'm in my head, man, and I have my thoughts and how I think about things, and so like it's nice to have someone coming from a different place, just to it's stimulating my brain.
And I think that it's always more fun to just pick an opinion and go with it. And like, I feel like somebody playing fantasy football, talking football, with like a Troy Aikman or something sometimes, where it's like, well, I would have run the play. And then, the guy's like, well, you're not on the field. You don't really know what it's like to run that play. And, I guess that's, what you're talking about, just like the perspectives and things. But I'm not afraid to say anything that is very dumb and have Sean correct me. And sometimes I stumble onto a good idea or two. But, it's just all about confidence and speaking your mind. That's all.
I say things. Hey, dude, I say things that are dumb all the time. So,
I think
no one's immune.
Yeah, right.
We've all been there, right?
Yeah.
So, again, if I'll plug the show again, if you want to check it out, you guys just launched on FITE TV. You can watch the video show. It's on Wednesdays now. You can catch it on your favorite podcast apps. One of the other things I do like about the show, and this will probably appeal a little bit more to Nick's point of view, but the show feels like it's an outlet for news to break, even though maybe it's may or may not be designed that way, but
not supposed to be.
Oh, right. Now,
but I mean,
you're right, Bill. And that's not necessarily always a good thing. And that's something I'm having to do more self-reflection on, because as you know, Bill, like all I do all day long is curate content that feeds the beast that is pro wrestling news. And I know what the formula is to drive interest in wrestling news. And that is a good thing, and it can be a bad thing, because like I have no filter, and I know exactly what people want to hear, and I know exactly how they want it asked, and I know exactly how they want it phrased. And when you do it, and I love Conrad. Conrad's a good friend of the show. His show's very different. It's not, his mind doesn't think like that. He wants to get people to talk about these other niche things that, is not really how my mind works, right? And so you're right. There is an element, especially with the news segment up top, which is more my wheelhouse, where there is some of that. But me more actively trying to do, something that's not necessarily a news show. It's like, again, it's got multiple pieces to it. But yes, the show does generate news. So,
and in some way, it's like it's kind of how the news cycle's changed, whether it was adapting over the past year because of what we were going through, or just people's interest changed. But not only the news part of the show, but like the interview portion too. It's like you want to share that, you have to aggregate content, you want to get your show out there. But on the other side of it, you can't really share a half-hour interview in one piece, or you can't show, like you mentioned, the what happened when, and the ad-free shows content. Like you can't share a 3-hour show in one article and keep people's attention and be fair to that outlet. Like you have to break it down into those little chunks of it. And I think you're even starting to see like people are doing clip shows now. Like I'll mention Chris Van Vliet. He does like the clip show, the clip YouTube account, and release it.
Yeah, my YouTube channel is like that, and we might start doing it like that again. But we were doing when I was doing the 1, 2, 360, we were loaded just clips at just clips, nonstop clips. It was just a different strategy, right? On getting views or whatever.
Well, we're supposed to be doing it right now, but I only have so many hours in the day, and then I'll burn out. But hey, props to our editor right now, Marsh. She's doing a great job of creating the social clips and editing the show every weekend. Just want to give him a little love while we talk.
Yeah, Marsh is great. That's great work.
Marsh,
absolutely.
Hey, but Bill, one thing I wanted to mention, just while we're at it, is it's you never know on the show, right? Like so we had Scott Norton on this week, and we usually pair up like a couple, two different guests, and like we had Josh Barnett on a few weeks ago, Malachi Black, but you just never know, man. Like it's there's something for everybody sometime.
Right.
I guess, maybe not every single episode, but there's
it works. I mean, there's some guests that maybe you're not familiar with, and I like the structure because maybe, like you said, you have Scott Norton on, but then you learn something. Like I know Alfred was great, the other guest on that particular episode. The one
people
that
don't know who Alfred is, like maybe not. Didn't mean to interrupt you, Bill. I'm really bad about that. But people don't know maybe don't know who Alfred is. But then after being really informative, enlightening conversation with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's a fun thing too, because like when we have multiple guests, because I like the show to feel more like a traditional podcast. You're like a Pod Save America or something. It's nice to hear somebody like Scott for like 40 minutes talk to Sean. These guys know each other. But then I get to introduce Sean to other people in the community that he may not be as familiar with, that I just kind of want to hear what it's like when they get together. What happens when I put Sean in a room with a Forbes' Alfred Conowell? What happens if I put Sean in a room with an Effie, right? And we talk about the LGBTQ community. These are people that he's less familiar with, but that doesn't mean that these conversations are all really good. And I like how they kind of play off of each other, during the shows and things. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and another good example of that was RJ City and Kenny McIntosh were on the same episode, and then even talking about Effie, he was on a show with Matt Cardona, so you have definitely different audiences, even though maybe now the common bond is GCW, but when it aired, it might not have been there.
Right.
And then you have the game show, which I don't want to spoil it, but I was laughing my ass off listening to that. I had to like Google a couple things, and I was like, like it was really fun. So
it's fun, right? Like I always lose, like every time almost.
Yeah, most of the time you lose. Most of the
half-assed. Like I mean, I'd like to say it's by design, but it just kind of weirdly enough ends up that way.
And I'm going to start getting a little more weird with the game show. We've done a lot of trivia stuff, and I think Sean, you're digging the more kind of outside the box games. Like I got a game in mind. I'm not going to tell you what it is. We're going to play it this week. And I think you're going to really dig it. It's different. It's not trivia.
Okay.
It's like a brain game. Anyway, sorry.
Hey, Bill, I appreciate you taking the time to check the show out too, because dude, a lot of shows out there, man.
I know. It's like, honestly, you guys have, like, I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. I enjoy the show. You're competing with a lot of other people for my time, so I don't know. It's just fun. Like,
yeah, and the way I look at the show, and it is like a news thing because I listen to a lot of like news podcasts and stuff. But right now we have one show a week, and we may do more here soon. That's spoiler alert, right? But like, if you're gonna come to us once a week, I want you to get a look at the last week in professional wrestling. Like, you get to hear what you've been talking about. You get to hear from voices you get to hear conversations about what's going on in the business from unique perspectives. If you give us, one day or an hour and a half or so your time each week, we're going to deliver something that's really complex, that's going to get you thinking and keep you up to date, and also like give you a little bit of that classic stuff you love. So, it is a hodgepodge variety, and like it's intentional, and it's like supposed to be a fun kind of cool party with lots of friends every Wednesday. That's the goal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I want to touch on your career a little bit, Sean. I do a feature called The Watch List as we're talking about segmenting the shows. This honestly started as a pandemic playlist last year when everybody thought, oh man, wrestling's going to go away. We don't know what's going on. It was just kind of a way to pick people's brain and see what stood out in their respective careers. I know you get asked about, the work with Razor a lot, Bret Hart match. Is there a match that gets overlooked too much? And I'll pose the question to both of you, because it really does feel like some of your WCW stuff doesn't get talked about enough just because you were in the NWO as a group, or the same with DX. Is there a match on its own that, you would really pick and say, hey, go back, give it a second look, whether it was WCW or WWF?
I mean, I'm trying to think of some, because like I've answered that question with a couple of different matches. Like the Action Zone tag match, Razor 1-2-3 Kid Diesel versus Diesel Shawn Michaels. It was like first or second Action Zone.
Mm-hmm.
You remember? I don't know if you remember that show or not, but anyways, it was a little Sunday show or whatever. But like for that, like in that era, it was like one of the legit great tag matches of that era, and not a lot of people have seen it. It was released on like some obscure, Coliseum home video or something, and it never really saw the light of day too much. But you can find it out there now, and just other matches like people like my match with Dean Malenko from Super Brawl at the Cow Palace. Eddie Guerrero comes out and gets involved in the finish. Anyways, we opened the show, and the crowd was hot, and I had a nice kind of a real like an authentic feeling to the thing with Dean, because his dad trained me, and I was talking a lot of shit about your dad loved me more than he loved you, that kind of thing. Anyways, pushing buttons, and it worked, and I loved it. And there's a tag match, so I'm giving you a few different things here. It was it Backlash, the one that comes after WrestleMania?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Backlash after. Anyways, it ended up being Road Dogg and I opening the show up with Edge and Christian. It was great. I highly recommend it. Like the way we laid the tag match out was a little bit unorthodox, but like it was really good. But I could keep going, but I'll stop there.
And you want to throw in, Nick?
I mean, the one on the show that I think has come up that, if you're looking for a diamond in the rough, would be Shawn versus Eddie Guerrero, sold out ladder match. I just say overlooked because people write that pay-per-view off, and, that was actually like, a really cool thing.
We saved it.
Yeah, it was
actually no, we didn't. We couldn't even say that.
I'm not going to argue. Honestly, that's my pick. I have my notes. That's my match that I wrote down, thinking like you talk about all the the early 1-2-3 Kid stuff, but like I remember that pay-per-view being like it's, and then you guys like blew it out of the water. So
right, you
don't have to convince me at all.
Hey, there's a people always talk about my match with Owen from King of the Ring, like 4-minute match. Well, a couple months later, I had a match on Raw with him that came from, we were doing Raw at Lowell, Massachusetts. Great little building, man. Just love that building. But we had like a 15-minute Raw match on Raw. It was great. And I highly recommend that one as well. So
definitely a lot to dig into. Part of the fun with this is I never get the same answer. I have actually only had the same answer twice, and Nick will know the Warrior Wrestling, Trey Miguel and Steve picked I think it was Amazing Red did like a 8-man tag match.
Oh, a Warrior?
Yeah, like 2 years ago. It was the Rascals and then
Chaos. It was him. It was Rocky Romero, Ospreay, and
Amazing Red.
Yeah.
That's the only time I've ever gotten the same answer twice, and that match is out there. It's amazing. Trey's talking about, how emotional it was for him, just, being a fan of Amazing Red. And then Steve, on the other hand, promoter, he's like telling me like, oh yeah, Brian Cage is out there in his gear, like with a whole pizza, like watching the match.
I'm pretty sure that was the Chaos match. I could be wrong. The rest was a lot of 6-mans, but I think that's right.
Yeah, I think so. It's out there, but I mean, that, like I said, that's the fun of it. Thanks again, both of you, for taking the time. Pro Wrestling for Life. You can catch Nick and Sean Wednesdays for new episodes anywhere you download podcasts, FITE TV. Anyone in particular they should download from more than the other?
Oh, that's a good question.
No, it doesn't matter. Go use whatever platform you want. Also, youtube.com/x-pac. That's the YouTube to go follow.
Right on.
I know.
Thank you, Bill.